Y'all, I just happened to be scrolling the good internets this morning, and what do I see? What do I see? I come across my girl's Instagram page, What Else Is Going On podcast, and I said, what do we have here? Now, it says Real Housewives of Atlanta star Kenya Moore files for divorce from husband Mark Daly and demands primary custody of daughter Brooklyn. Now, I could have swore they had already did this whole situation. And I felt like they done did it again and again and again and again. Well, this time it appears to be the final time, according to Radar Online. And we'll get into a little bit of the tea about what she's asking for, what he asking for, and how it's about to go down. And we also got to discuss how Kimmy was sitting there last night looking just like this. Poor Kimmy. Poor Kimmy. Just left all alone with the leftovers. Oh, gosh. Y'all get into this. What's going on, Skye Squad? We are back in the building. Yes, we are all the way back in the good building. Okay, it's your boy DJ Richie Skye. And we got some things to talk about today. At first I was just going to talk about Love and Marriage Huntsville, but then I was like, oh, this Kenya Moore story is quite interesting. And I actually had to go back and check the date on that story because I could have swore that they had already done the divorce. Okay, I thought so too. I thought it was already said and done, and I thought it was over with and everybody had moved on, but apparently not. Okay. So before we get into that, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below, hit that notification bell button, and join the texting community. You guys can see the number right here. I basically just send you text messages to let you know that a video has dropped, and sometimes I'll send you a happy birthday message as well if I can get around to it, or if I remember to do so. I try to remember to do it as much as possible though. So don't be surprised if you get a happy birthday message from me. Okay. Now with that being said, y'all, let me know in that good chatterization where you guys are watching from. I see some people from Delaware. We got DC. We got Miami, Florida in the His Naive. We got Birmingham, Alabama. Okay. Who else we got up in here? Who else we got up in the room today? Madison, Wisconsin, Marlboro, Maryland, Atlanta. Yeah, Tish P. You know, I get bored easily. So I was like, let me switch some things up in the background. And it probably changed tomorrow too, because I'm kind of, I don't know if I'm satisfied. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know if I need to add more drama to it. I feel like I need to add more drama to it. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to figure that out as we go. So y'all just bear with me. Atlanta's in the building. Charlottesville, VA is in the doggone building. Okay. Who else? NYC, Olive Branch, Mississippi, Durham, North Carolina. Hey, yes, Maurice does not treat Kimmy right. He did it every season. Poor Kimmy, says Karen Turner. We got Olive Branch. We got NYC, Los Angeles, Virgin Islands, Atlanta. Good to see you. Hey, come on, ma'am. Come on, ma'am. Nairobi, Kenya. Come on, Nairobi. We also got Zimbabwe in His Naive as well. And Lithonia, Georgia. I see y'all. Nola in the building, West Palm Beach, Dallas. Come on, y'all. I see y'all. Thank you guys so much for joining in on this good chatterization on this good Sunday morning. You know, you guys could be anywhere, but you chose to be here, and I'm appreciative of that. Okay. So with that being said, let's go ahead and stage dive into what we got to talk about. Now, my girl Taria from the What Else Is Going On podcast, she posted this today. And I was like, let me get into this story, y'all. Let me find out. Oh, we got a super chat in the building from Liz Q. Happy Sunday from Tennessee. Love your content. Thank you so much, Liz. We send love right back to you as well. Okay. Thank you so much, boo. Y'all know something? I've never been to Tennessee. I need to get there one time. I need to get that one good time. So let's get into the story. Okay. I don't know. I got to find out, boo. I got to find out, Laura. But we about to get into it. So when you go to Radar Online, basically the story is there. It broke about 11 hours ago, right? So apparently this is what's going on. Now, you guys know that the date was listed on the of the marriage in June of 2017. Okay, September 2019 was the date of separation. Okay, so ever since then, it's been sort of a back and forth little legal battle. So right now she's demanding sole custody. That is physical and legal custody of baby Brooklyn. She says the parties have acquired other joint personal property as a result of their marriage by way of gifts or joint purchases, which must be equitably divided, as well as marital debt, which must be equitably divided as well. Now, apparently, this is what's going on with the situation. On June 11th, Mark responded to Kenya's petition and slapped her with his own suit. So what she did was she pleaded with the court to have an emergency hearing. Her lawyers wrote this to the court. To date, there are various issues impacting the case, safety, and well-being of the minor child that could be continuously impacted if not addressed, at least on a temporary basis. Without assistance and direction for this honorable court, it is our belief that the unresolved matters as to the minor child will continue and could become irreparable. So if there are issues impacting the care, safety, and well-being of the minor, then that means that there is some concern about there being some type of issues impacting baby Brooklyn, which is very actually kind of sad and scary. And if she's having to have an emergency court hearing set, then that, I mean, I don't even know what that means and what's going on with that situation right there, but I don't really like the sound of it. So then he responded with his own suit asking for joint legal custody, but he is apparently in agreement about her having primary custody. But get this, he's also asking for separate and real personal property. So what he's saying is that their marital residence was the home that Kenya purchased in Georgia. So what I'm trying to tell y'all is that he wants a piece of that, according to what we're reading here on Radar Online. Okay. They say that he wants, quote, an equitable division of the parties' marital residence. Okay. And he wants Kenya to pay his legal fees in the case. And apparently that's ongoing. So what they're saying here also too is that Kenya's lawyers have pleaded for this case to be sealed because they wrote, quote, the petitioner is a high-profile individual who has a vested and heightened interest in keeping her private life from becoming public due to her public persona, but the petitioner's life, safety, and privacy interests are generally subject to the media outlets as such, okay? And there has yet to be any ruling on her motion. So it sounds like wants a piece of the house, okay? From what I'm gathering, I think that's correct. And there is some concern over the care of Brooklyn as well. So this don't really sound too good. And I'm quite disappointed because, at the end of the day, we talk about, Kenya and Portia and all the ladies on the reality TV shows. But what we always want is for the safety and security of their families and their children. So I hope that they can get this resolved with a quickness, because it really sounds sad the way that this whole thing is playing out. And I do feel like, based on what we've seen, that that Kenya is probably the more suitable parent, because it seems like that's where she has been the most. Other than that, I don't have kids, so I don't really feel comfortable commenting too much about it. It just sounds a little sad to me, and I didn't like what I was reading. So there's that. I will place the link in the description for you guys to read it, to read more about it at your leisure. But it bothers me. It really doesn't sit well with my spirit, the way that this whole thing is playing out. And I hope that they can get this whole situation resolved. Okay. Let's go ahead and stage dive into, well, I know that you guys are saying that they went on vacation together, but this story right here literally just broke again at 12:06 a.m. So I don't really know what's going on. It sounds a little crazy to me, but I hope they get it figured out. Bruce says, I feel like part of the reason she's really pushing for sole custody is because the show's producers are pressuring her to feature Brooklyn, and Mark is pushing for her to not be on the show. That could be something. That could be something there as well. I don't know. Thank you for that super chat. T-Ness, thank you for the super sticker as well. To be honest, I don't know. It's all confusing to me from an observer's perspective. And I just don't know how to process it, even as someone who comments on what we see on the reality TV screen, because it's very confusing. 1 minute, it seems like things are fine. Another second, it seems like things are not fine. So who knows? But it sounds to me like they would be best to just go ahead and part ways equitably, and for them to try their hardest to just co-parent the best way that they possibly can. Okay. That's all we can say about that. I want to move on to a somewhat lighter subject, but it's not really that light. We got to talk about Love and Marriage Huntsville, y'all, and why Kimmy is sitting right here like this, packing up the leftovers after Maurice done left her to deal with Kiowa and Zave. This made me so mad last night, y'all. This made me so mad. Camilla Westbrook says, I really want to feel bad, but I can't. She spewed venom and now she's getting it back. Put out what you want back. Thank you for the super chat. Kimmy, let's get into it. Let's get into last night's episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville. Let me tell y'all something. Kimmy is better than I am, okay? Kimmy is much better than I am, because to be honest with you, I don't even know what I would have done in that situation last night for a meeting that Maurice done called, and now he got to go and he got to leave her, okay, picking up the pieces and the leftovers from this lunch, and then to deal with his ex that had up until recently, I mean, not too long ago, was, having a whole lot of nasty stuff to say about her. I don't know what I would have done, but I definitely don't think I would have stayed there. But that food was looking good, so I might have packed it up too. I probably would have packed it up and left right after he left. But we're going to get into that in a second. We got to start at the beginning of this thing, okay? Love and Marriage Huntsville, Season 3, Episode 4, Kim Possible Endeavor, premiered last night. I want to know in the chatterization what you guys would rate this episode on a scale of 1 to 10. We got It's a Different World saying, ain't no way I'm staying to deal with someone who drugged me like that. Amen to that. It's a different world. Amen to that. I wouldn't either, okay? I wouldn't either. Even if we were on better terms now, I wouldn't either. But I'm going to tell you guys why I wouldn't have done it in just 1 second. Thank you for that super chat. Let's get into it. I want y'all to rate this episode on a scale of 1 to 10. And I want you to give it an honest rating, because I'm going to give it an 8. Okay? California Cutie, I see you gave it a 9. Just the T, please, gave it an 8. Aubrey gave it a 9. Brandy gave it an 8. Quita gave it an 8, 8.5, 7, 8, 8, 8. Interesting. We're gonna talk about that in just a second. So one of the things that I found interesting, and I'm gonna give it an 8 because I was expecting that situation with Destiny and Tiffany to go someplace yesterday, and it did not go nowhere. It was a road that led to nowhere. Okay, it didn't go nowhere. Yes, in last night's episode, but I feel like it's gonna go someplace in future episodes. So I still have our hope. And best believe when I say that this is an 8, this is a good 8. This is an 8 plus. Okay, so it's not an 8 that's a bad 8. It's just an 8. Because last night we also we barely got any of Melody. We barely got any of Destiny or Tiffany or Tiffany's husband. Tiffany's husband wasn't even present. And there was absolutely zero Marcel in this episode. Now, what I want to know is, in the chatterization, did you guys miss Marcel being on this episode or no? Give me a yes or a no. Did you miss Marcel being on last night's episode? Give me a yes or a no. I'm going to tell you, and y'all know I'm not always the biggest fan of Marcel's actions. I don't know him as a person, so I can't really judge him as a person in real life. So I only talk about his actions on the show and what he does on social media. But to be quite honest with you, I didn't even really miss him last night. Is that bad? I didn't miss him at all. I didn't. I just didn't. And because I usually find his actions on the show to be rather deplorable, but last night I barely missed him at all. So I don't know. I wish there was more Melody. I felt like this episode reminded me of the way that they edit this season of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, and I told you guys that it felt more like a soap opera. Like they only will focus on, like a soap opera will only focus on a couple of people each episode. And then you won't see those people for another couple of episodes. And then they'll focus back on that same group of people coming up in future episodes. I like it when I see everybody, to be honest with you. I don't like it when people are missing from the cast in a particular episode and we only get very little of. Melody is pretty much the lead of this show. And I would have appreciated seeing a little bit more of her, especially because she looks so good in her bob. But I did miss her presence on the show. But what I will say is that I liked diving deeper into Kimmy and Maurice's relationship, because the dynamic there was something I felt like we had been missing, because we really don't get a lot of them, I feel like, sometimes. So it was refreshing to get a lot more of them last night. But that's just me. So that's why I feel like I can't rate it too low, because I still got my feel of my Kimmy. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like Kimmy is a fan favorite because she knows how to quietly check people when she needs to. And she quietly checked Maurice several times last night. But we about to get into it right now. First things first, we pick up with the brunch with Tiffany at Destiny's birthday party, with Tiffany sort of revealing that she had met LeBaric with allegedly another woman that she mistook for Destiny. Destiny runs off to the bathroom, has to come back after she regroups herself. And really, she does not really confront Tiffany about it. They basically kind of make it into a joke, with Kimmy saying, well, I've heard people say that you and I look alike, so I'm glad she didn't think it was me, or something like that. And we get into this whole thing about Kimmy and Destiny coming so far in their relationship. Tiffany is off to the side, acting like in her confessionals, like she didn't mean no harm by the whole situation. When in fact, girl, we know you did what you felt like needed to be done. You caused a scene in your first scene with the group, and you did your reality TV job. Now, it was a mess, and now you done made an enemy out of Destiny, but you can't act like you had the best of intentions when you came up on the scene revealing that information. Like, oh my God, I thought that this was just going to be a way for her to realize that I've met her before. No, girl, nobody wants to hear that at their birthday party, and it was rude and it was disgusting, and nobody liked it, okay? The only person that seemed remotely amused by this whole situation was Melody, and I hate to say that, but it did seem true. She seemed amused by it because it was some drama that did not involve her, okay? So that's the reality of the situation. Anyway, they ask and here's where Melody kind of stirs the pot a little bit as well. She asked straight up, she asked Destiny this. She says, was LeBaric a cheater? Now, friend, that's Melody's way of saying, I don't know nothing about your divorce, so let me get some tea from you right now. What was going on in this marriage that caused you to get divorced? Because nobody knows. You ain't told nobody nothing. So you about to say something on camera. You gonna give me something, okay? And basically, I'm just gonna tell y'all that Destiny chalks it up to it being the pandemic. And the pandemic is what caused the breakup. Now, we can blame the pandemic on a lot of things, okay? We can blame the pandemic on our weight gain, our weight loss, our sleepless nights, or what have you. But to blame your entire marriage falling apart on the pandemic, I really don't know, unless it just forced you to spend so much time with this person and you just realized you didn't like this person. But to be quite honest with you, I feel like the way that the streets have been talking about the relationship since before she announced that she was getting divorced, I feel like it was something else there to it that she just really not saying anything. But Melody was like, I mean, is he a cheater? Is he a cheater? I was like, oh Lord, Melody, you just you just kind of throwing your friend under the bus. Now I get that you upset with her because she didn't tell you she was getting she was getting a divorce. Okay, but you really just, I mean, hey, listen, she was doing her reality TV show job though, okay? Anyway, Marcel gets to Houston. Letitia is dressed in a sexy dress. She wants to spend quality time. He's talking about business. They are, in fact, on a business trip, but she also wants to spend some sexy time with her man. They talk about how she called Jalen back down to the black, okay, in Huntsville, and she lets him know, you are the only person in charge right now because we out of town, okay? That's really what happened in that scene. Maurice and Kimmy, okay, this is an interesting conversation. Kimmy recaps Tiffany at the B-Day party and the monster thing with him vaping in the bathroom. Maurice says he knew, but he didn't feel like, Maurice says that he knew about it, but Kimmy didn't. And she says that she felt like a deer in headlights, okay? Maurice feels like he's not going to like Tiffany because he gossiping about his son. And he's really upset because he feels like there's going to be a stigma attached to his name publicly now because people know, because Tiffany put it out there, that Monster was vaping in the bathroom. And then they're going to be looking at him all types of ways. Now, Kimmy tries to, Kimmy tries to encourage him to have a conversation about the impacts of certain actions that can be taken that could possibly ruin your, I don't want to say reputation, but it's a basic conversation that I feel like parents need to have with their, especially Black boys, okay, as they grow up, and Black girls too. I think conversations need to be had on both sides of the aisle, but particularly Black boys, because, you know, we have to teach our young men that you can't be involved in certain situations. You can't even be associated with certain situations because of the implications down the line. And you need to understand and be able to read the room and read the environment and understand where you are, who you're with, and what that could possibly mean for your future. And that's the truth of it all. That is the absolute truth of it all. Now, that's a conversation that people can have with their kids in general, but it is especially true in the Black community that those conversations desperately need to be had. So that is kind of what they're talking about in this situation. Thank you so much, Taquana, for the super chat. I appreciate you. So they talk about that, but the problem is Kimmy feels like that there's no work-life balance there for Maurice, and he does not have the work-life balance that is needed to have these necessary conversations with Monster. That's pretty much the premise of this conversation. So he gets real irate. You could tell he's getting real upset, and he's going off about how much he needs to work and how hard he needs to work to be successful. And there's a part of me that feels like there is some, and I don't know, because I'm not a counselor, I'm not a therapist. I will go ahead and tell you guys that. So I'm not going to prescribe something to him, but there's a part of me that feels like there is some type of trauma working in the back of his mind that makes him feel like he has to work, you know, so many hours in order to be successful. And to me, I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys this. I am unsubscribing to the hustle lifestyle, meaning this idea that you need to work 24/7 to get ahead, because honestly, there is a better way. People need rest, people need balance, and people need to understand that you are not a machine. And your body at a certain point in time will begin to break down if you are continuously just work. And clearly there are conversations that need to be had and time that needs to be spent with this child that's not being spent with him, because Kimmy is telling us that. Kimmy is telling him that, but he is refusing to listen, okay? He's refusing to listen. Now, they don't even get into the fact that she's upset also that she did not know about the Monster situation. And they kind of get back to that. And she basically has to know, well, she lets him know, well, I'm kind of used to you not telling me things about Monster because you kind of make me play the backseat role. And anytime I try to give you any advice, it is not welcome and you don't listen to it. Okay. So he's like, you know, I mean, I feel like he is defensive in most of this conversation. And she also has to check him in the confessional because he never even let her know about the Monster issue. And she had to find out about it from some outside source, i.e. Tiffany. He reveals also, though, that he did, in fact, tell Kiowa, who is his real mother. And, you know, the problem is this. Kimmy says that Maurice will say, because Maurice talks about how great Jalen turned out. Now, for those of you guys who are unfamiliar, Jalen is Kimmy's biological son. Monster is Maurice's biological son with Kiowa. Now, if Maurice is talking about how great Jalen turned out, Kimmy wants to know, well, why do you keep saying that? Clearly, you're not listening to my advice, given that you are claiming that I raised such an amazing kid. Why is it that if I raised such an amazing kid, you're so unwilling to listen to any of my advice with regards to how the things that go on with him? And he says, well, I listen to you. I just don't do everything that you say. Okay. The best thing that I could tell you guys about this conversation is that Kimmy pretty much was like, as Maurice talks about having more work-life balance, Kimmy is basically like, I'll believe it when I see it. And I really like how Kimmy quietly checks him. But you know what she does? She checks him, but she also lets him feel as if he won in that conversation. I don't know if you guys noticed that or not. I feel like whenever they have a conversation, he feels like he won and he got his point across, but she quietly lets him know what the real deal is in his somewhat delusional world. Okay. And I love every single minute of it. And I literally wrote in my notes, Kimmy is the GOAT. Okay. Kimmy is the GOAT. A couple of other things that I'll talk about. Marcel and Letitia are down to the Houston. They meet up with Uncle Mike and Aunt Linda, who are basically uncles and aunt. Marcel's uncle and aunt. They're talking about the work being done on Scott Manor, which is the plot of land that they are building together for the Scott family. Apparently, Uncle Mike is the reason for the holdup in what they want to do. Letitia and Marcel are not on the same page about what is the exact reason for the holdup. Is it because Letitia wants a bigger closet, or is it because Marcel wants a bigger garage? And Uncle Mike basically says, well, the bigger garage and all of these changing plans are what's causing the holdup in that situation. That's essentially that conversation that happened at dinner. For those of you guys who did not see the episode, I don't really have too many thoughts on it because I don't really see a lot of movement taking place on Scott Manor. So I guess we'll talk more about that as time continues to roll on. But that is an interesting observation. Claire says Marcel always wants to blame everyone but himself. Okay. Let's see. Oh, the other part of this conversation is that Letitia is very worried about Maurice and Kimmy not knowing their plans for their house because they don't want Maurice to be competitive and try to build a better house. That's something that was interesting as well. Kimmy and Jalen are working on a renovation project, which is Jalen's new condo. And so she wants to make sure that he has time to do some of the physical labor that will be required so that they can stay under budget. Jalen's issue is that he does not have time because he's forced to work and he's being overworked by Marcel and Letitia. If he goes to Letitia to complain or to get some guidance, what she says will contradict what Marcel says, and this is pretty much understandable because they never seem to be on the same page about much. Okay, but Kimmy basically says that she feels like Marcel set Jalen up for failure because they knew that Jalen had no experience being a general manager and that they should have hired someone to assist him in the beginning. And Kimmy reminds us that Letitia also told Marcel that they needed to hire someone to assist Jalen in the beginning as well. Okay. The other interesting thing that happened in this conversation was there was previously some talk about Destiny having some type of thinking that Jalen was somehow attracted to her. Well, Kimmy brought that up to Jalen, and Jalen is like, no, Destiny is not my type, boo. Okay. And she is a cougar, and I am the cougar tamer. Okay. Now here we get to Black's chocolate in a bottle launch, right? They're trying to get honest feedback about this chocolate in a bottle champagne brand, which I really am interested in. I would really like to taste this brand of champagne. They chat with, celebrities like Tommy Miles, Jacqueline Miles, and the cast of Ready to Love, which explains why Kira was there from Ready to Love. I think her name is Kira. Let me know in the chat if I'm correct. That is Kira. Thank you so much, Mountain Kitty. Thank you so much, Mountain Kitty. I love you for just everything that you do. You're always on top of it. Thank you so much. Marcel gives a speech to toast Black excellence, and somehow he ends up briefly chatting with Kira, right, from Ready to Love. And in the trailer, this scene was made to seem a little bit bigger than it was, but it seemed kind of like a harmless interaction because based on the footage that we're shown, Marcel is introducing himself to literally everyone. He's talking to everyone, okay? Literally talking to everyone. And so I didn't feel as though there was anything that was untoward, but maybe given that there were rumors about Marcel having some other babies out there, I'm not saying those are true or not because I don't know. I'm just saying they talked about those rumors. Maybe given that, maybe that is why Letitia reacted so strongly. And so she felt like when she saw him talking to Kira that she had her eyes on him and she needed to go snatch him up. Now, he's kind of acting oblivious, but for some reason, she starts crying. I was a little confused because the way that the conversation was happening with her, kind of confronting him, it seemed more playful than anything else. So I didn't understand why she was crying. I don't know. I really don't know. Thank you for the super chat. Gadget Girl says, I like Kimmy's patience. She keeps calm throughout Maurice talking foolish. Absolutely. Thank you for that. Maybe it was cut out by production. I really don't know, but she was definitely crying. Okay. A lot of y'all are saying editing had to be more. Okay. Okay, I can take some Choco Vine wine from Walmart. Thank you. So we'll hopefully find out what happened more with that next week. Maybe, I'm assuming. It seemed like that was sort of to be continued. I don't know. So next, we get to Maurice and Kimmy, and the reason why Kimmy was left at the restaurant looking like this, because they are meeting Kiowa and Zave, who have flown in from, I forget where they live, to meet up with them for Monster's graduation. Now, they are there to have a conversation that Maurice has wanted to have about how they can all be better co-parents to Monster. Kimmy, I believe, don't really know why she's there other than moral support, because she really knows that she just kind of takes a back seat to whatever it is that they say. They recap Kimmy and Kiowa's, contentious relationship in the past. As you guys know, for those of you guys who don't, Kiowa has previously stated that she felt like Kimmy was dating Maurice before Kiowa and Maurice were officially divorced. So that has led to a lot of, tension and just, a really not so nice relationship between them in the past, although they are currently seemingly on better terms. Now, Maurice claims that he is the reason for Kiowa and Kimmy getting along right now. And Kimmy in her confessional has to check him again. She checked him a lot in her confessionals this episode. It is such a nuanced conversation every time you see them on the screen together. If you really are into the dialogue and how she phrases what she says, the way she looks at him, and just the sort of, you really get an idea of the level of frustration that Kimmy continues to feel, but the patience that she continues to have when she is talking him through these situations. Because what she says to him in her confessional is, she says, you didn't foster a relationship with me and Kiowa. She says, you just gave Kiowa what she wanted to get her off of your back. And I was like, ooh. Okay, let's tell it. Let's tell it. I don't know if it's Snickup says Maurice did not ask for the meeting. Kiowa asked to meet up. It was Kiowa that asked to meet up. Because she called in the previous episode. You are absolutely correct with that. We already talked about Kenya Moore, so you'll have to rewind that. Now let's get into it. Kiowa and Zave are late, but for some reason, Maurice has decided that he should set up a meeting with his attorney for like literally, think about it like this. If Maurice wanted to meet with Kiowa and Zave on that day, or even if Kiowa set up that meeting, why would you, Maurice, set up a meeting with your attorney around the same time that you guys want to have this conversation about co-parenting and getting on better terms for Monster's sake? I don't understand that. That felt crazy to me that you would set an appointment like that so close, unless you guys were there for like 4 hours, because otherwise it don't make no sense to me. Okay, it don't make any sense to me. So what he says is, I gotta go. Okay, they have ordered food. The food has come. So clearly it's been maybe at least an hour or so. I would give it at least an hour. Okay. And I would have scheduled my meeting with my attorney for another time. But I will say this. It is sometimes very difficult to get meetings with attorneys. So I'm not going to go too hard at him. I literally had to wait almost, I won't get into it, but sometimes it can take, sometimes that's a stressful process. So perhaps he had to get it in where he could, but this also was important, and it is also a filming commitment. So you should have rescheduled that, brother. Okay. Anyway, he basically says, well, I gotta go. And he wants to leave Kimmy alone to handle the conversation with Kiowa and Zave. Kiowa, who barely just started liking Kimmy. You want to leave your wife alone, who just told you that she feels like she has to take a back seat to whatever you and Kiowa say as it regards to raising Monster. So why would you leave her alone for that conversation? That makes you look crazy to me. So anyway, she says no, and she suggests rescheduling the meeting, which clearly was an option. But he leaves her alone to handle the meeting. I mean, he literally bounces, okay? He literally bounces. He cannot even be bothered to take his food with him. She has to pack up the leftovers, okay? So she's packing up the leftovers looking like this, okay? And in my mind, I'm thinking, I know it's the end of the episode, but is Kiowa and Zave even going to show up? But lo and behold, Kiowa and Zave show up what looks like not mere moments after Maurice had to have been able to drive out of the parking lot of the restaurant that they were at. So we're left with a to be continued after Maurice has already left and Kimmy is there to handle the conversation by herself. Now, what I want to tell you guys is, first of all, Kimmy is better than I am, because I would have left right with Maurice. You, first of all, don't want me to have that much say with regards to your son, but you want me to sit and have a conversation with your ex-wife who don't even like me about your son that you refuse to take any advice from me about? No. And you couldn't even be bothered to tell me that this boy got in trouble at school, but yet you want me to control and manage a conversation with your ex, which is his mom and her new man? No, I'm not doing it. And you're not going to put me in that position to have to do it either. I think that was grossly irresponsible. And I feel like, Maurice, you need to do better. You need to do better on that. And what I don't want to see next week is, please do not have set us up for the okie doke, y'all, and production, and then have Maurice scurry back into the meeting, because I don't want to feel like I was tricked either, because now I'm hot in my emotions, okay? And so now I want to see how Kimmy deals with this situation and what she says and what she does, because ultimately I have faith in Kimmy that she can still handle that situation. I'm just saying that she should not have to, okay? That was my review for Love and Marriage Huntsville. If you guys did come in late to the chat and you wanted to catch the Kenya Moore information, simply rewind this video from the beginning, because we do talk about Kenya Moore and the divorce from Mark Daly at the beginning of this episode for about the first 10 minutes. So you guys can catch that. Listen, okay? It's the hot emotions for me too, okay? With that being said, y'all, I gotta go. I got brunch with the family at 1, so I need to run and go get myself ready for that. But y'all know I had to come up on here and talk about this today. California Cutie, thank you so much. Happy Sunday, everyone. Sending love, Richie. And as y'all know, speaking of love, I always got to tell y'all, in case nobody has told y'all today, I love you. Please go and tell somebody else. Spread that positive energy around like wildfire. It can really do wonders for somebody's day. And I know I say that all the time, but I really absolutely mean it. Spread it and live it. And I will catch you guys in the next video.